Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bailey. I am Crochet with Bay, and today we are going to teach you guys how to make sure your heads are no longer wobbly with the help of my two new patterns, the ogres. So today I'm going to show you guys how to properly stuff your heads and the bodies so that you do not get floppy heads. Now, given the size of the head of the plushie you're working on, you may need some additional reinforcements, which I'm also going to give you tips on. Stuffing was probably the thing that took me the longest to figure out and how to perfect, I would say, when I started crocheting plushies. And I still wouldn't say I'm perfect at it by any means, but I have learned a lot over the years, and I'm going to do more than just tell you to keep stuffing it, because that's what I was told when I was learning and it was not helpful whatsoever. So I'm here to help. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, subscribe, and turn on the notification button so you never miss another video. Let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so you're going to have to excuse this little setup I have going on here. I think it is imperative to see both from the front and from above what we are doing. So when it comes to stuffing your head, it starts even before you make the head. It starts at the neck. So you want to make sure that your last round of the body is a very tight round so that you do not have any gaps when you're stuffing your neck firmly to create the solid base for your head. So now that I have just done my last stitch of my neck, I'm going to change colors because that's what the pattern calls for. I'm going to start my round on the head. This first round should also be a fairly tight round because you're setting the foundation for the head. If you have loose stitches, you're gonna have a wobbly neck and therefore a wobbly head. What I want you to do is go all the way up, finish the head up until about maybe the fourth round from the end, and then we will meet back. This doesn't just work for my pattern specifically, but for most heads, I would like to have really only like 24 stitches around before I start stuffing the head. And I'll tell you why when we meet back. Okay, so now that we've inserted our eyes and we have decreased down to 24 stitches like the pattern has said, or if you're doing a different pattern and just using this as a guide, you want to decrease anywhere from 24 to 18 stitches. It depends on the size of your yarn basically, because if you're using a much bigger yarn, 24 stitches is gonna look like this. It's gonna look bigger, so maybe you wanna close it a bit more before you go ahead and stuff. But anyways, like I said, just a nice smaller opening than having the whole head open to stuff. So you're gonna take your polyfill, I get this from Michael's, and you're going to break it up nice and small, because if you go and you shove this whole thing in there, it's not gonna break up nicely and it's gonna leave lumps and clumps. So you're gonna break that up. You're going to then go to the very bottom. Do you see how this is squishy? So we kind of don't want that. So you're gonna go in and you're going to make sure that your body is nice and stuffed all the way up to the neck. So to do this, oh, you know what? One more thing. Since I put my eyes on, I'm actually going to stick some clear tape over them so that they don't get scuffed up while I am stuffing, because your eyes rub onto the table a lot when you're stuffing. So just use either the film that came over the eyes, or if you get your eyes in bulk like these, they don't come with film, then just use some clear tape, because he's going to scrape up against counter and get his eyes all scuffed. Just using one finger, essentially just to kind of guide. I go around in a circle. I kind of go like under the armpit, on the top of the body. As I'm doing this, I'm kind of feeling along the outside, and I'm feeling for any like low spots in my stuffing. And that's where I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna top that up with some more stuffing, just using my finger to guide the stuffing. So now that we are nice and squishy, not so squishy in there. Next, we are going to start with the neck. So the neck has not yet been stuffed. We're still very, very loose in the neck. So we're going to go and we're just going to start putting the stuffing on the neck. You're going to want to go in a circle, kind of on top of the stuffing that you just put on the body. So don't keep pushing it down into the body. Just kind of like compact it on top of the stuffing you put in the body, if that makes sense. And this ring is driving me nuts. I'm very cold, so my rings are falling off. Okay, so you're just gonna keep stuffing that neck. Think more of out instead of down. So you wanna make sure that it is packed with stuffing, more so out. And I am just gonna like lightly push underneath the neck into that little shoulder area. Just a little bit in the shoulder area as well. Because this whole section here is your foundation for your head. Okay, so now that I feel like my neck is at a decently stuffed spot, I'm gonna go, you can always go back and stuff your neck a little bit more after, but I'm just gonna go break up some more polyfill and placing the polyfill just around the outside of the head. I don't know how to, outside of the head. So instead of how it looks like this, now it looks round, but just like a little bit, okay? You're just kind of making your, think of it almost like you're making a little bit of a nest. So you're gonna go and you're gonna stuff some right down there. You're just into the head. In there, on this side. You can use your hand to kind of like cup the head and then push up against that. It's not gonna be perfect because this is just like a foundation for what we're doing. As I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about some alternative methods for keeping a wobbly head up. Now, because with much larger yarn and a smaller neck, you're probably going to end up with a floppy head anyways. Like, it's very hard to get a big, like a thick yarn like Sweet Snuggles size 7 or Parfait XL to stay up on its own. For those types of projects where I want a really stable head, I will go to the dollar store and I will get these foam curling rods, and you just fold it in half and stick it in the neck so that you don't have to rely solely on stuffing if stuffing is not your best attribute when it comes to plushies. You know what? Let me check and see if I have some in the other room. I found some. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and it's basically just like a wire that is covered in foam, and these are curlers. So I just got these at the dollar store, and if it is too long for you to stuff it in like this, then fold it like this, or you can even just like cut it and like wrap some tape around one side so it doesn't like poke through, because there is a wire in here. But these were my bread and butter when I was learning how to stuff, because I would always get floppy heads and I couldn't figure out how to stuff it properly. So this is a really good alternative. These are at the dollar store. They are called foam rollers or foam curlers maybe. If you are using like a smaller plushie, like an acrylic yarn, you could probably even just use pipe cleaners. Like, that's another good option too. So now that I've kind of gone around the outside and down the head, so we've kind of done like stuffing like this, how it's like up and around. So we want a bit of a gap in the middle here. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm kind of gonna just hold the sides up here, and I'm gonna push that down. The stuffing that I did, I'm just gonna push it down to the bottom of the head here. I'm just gonna push this down, especially because with a pattern like this, the head is meant to look very like flat on the bottom and then just like chunky. If it was a pattern where the neck and the head kind of gradually like go up in like a V, then you wouldn't want to stuff it down to get this flat look, if that makes sense. So now what I'm going to do is, after I've kind of pushed it down, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start to stuff the center. That center that I kind of left empty, we're gonna go in and start stuffing that now. And as I do that, I'm also gonna be pushing inwards and up to the outside. So we're kind of doing the same thing we did before, but just like again and from the center. Make sure to break up that polyfill. And as you're going, you're gonna wanna hold it and stuff it down. And at this point, you should be able to wobble this, and if it is super, super wobbly, you're gonna wanna go back, take the stuffing out, and restuff your neck, because you want it to look good. So it's like you're not gonna be happy with it. So why would you finish it and not be happy with it? Like, don't finish it until you're happy with it. So you're going to just go around the sides and see how this is kind of flat here. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put some more stuffing there. So now I'm at the point where I feel like if I put any more stuffing, it's just gonna kind of cut out the top, and everything that I'm pushing down is kind of just coming right back up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do another decrease round. So the next round in my head, which for this pattern is going to be a 2 single crochet decrease, Yeah, sorry, I can't crochet up on this table. I have to sit back like this. It is just too much. Now we're down to 16 stitches, and we're just gonna do the same thing that we've been doing. We're just gonna kind of go around in a circle, but this time we're gonna go on top of the shelf that we've made of stuffing. So far we've been stuffing out and down and then pushing it down. Now we're gonna start to stuff the top. You don't want your head to be super squishy, because right now it's gonna be super squishy and we don't want this. So we're gonna keep stuffing the center and keep stuffing the outsides. So center and outsides, more stuffing. And if you're finding that you missed a spot and there's a spot that is like down here that is not stuffed very well, then grab some polyfill, stick it in between your fingers and just like jam it all the way to the bottom and fish it over to that corner that you think is lacking. Like move the polyfill around. Bully it. Make sure you're turning your plushie as you do this, because right now I have a flat head, but I'm gonna flip it and I'm going to fix the flat head. So I kind of do like a combination of things. Like I wouldn't say that I like do like one thing first and then the next thing and then the next thing. Like I said, to stuff the bottom layer first and then push it down and then stuff the top layer and then stuff the middle. But you kind of have to do a combination of all of those depending on where your plushie needs its stuffing. So for example, like this, I can tell if I try and push this from the outside, it's just not gonna work. So I'm actually gonna go and take some polyfill in between my fingers and I'm gonna go out on the outside of this stuffing. Like that. And try and give it some volume like that. You can also take your hook, if you're like, this is a really dull spot and like I can't get polyfill down there, you can take your hook, you can shove it up there and pull the stuffing down. So go in like a hook motion and just pull some of that stuffing down, making sure you're securing up here. So now I have stuffing right there that I didn't before. You're gonna have to fill in where the stuffing came from, but it's a good way to get some stuffing in a stubborn spot that would not hold stuffing before. I go like around and then stuff it down, around, stuff it down, because you want this head to be firm. Not so firm that you're seeing holes in your stitches. If you are doing this and you're like, Bailey, this doesn't even matter because I'm seeing holes in my stitches already and I know that this head is not stuffed enough, then I hate to break it to you, but you need to use a smaller hook size, because what this means is that your tension is loose. It's not too loose, everybody crochets differently, but your tension is loose, which means you need to go ahead and down a hook size. Downing a hook size is going to decrease the holes in between your stitches. Now, if you have the opposite problem where you're like, Bailey, I can't shape this, it's basically like cardboard trying to shape cardboard, then your tension is tight and you need to go up a hook size to make the holes between your stitches more loose. I find that when you have tight tension, it's easier to stuff because the yarn holds the structure itself, whereas when you have loose tension, you really have to fight the yarn to get it to look a certain way. Okay, so now that I have this guy nicely plumply stuffed, I'm going to go ahead and finish, or not finish, do one more decrease round, and I'm gonna get down to 8 stitches. And then I'll show you guys how I finish off the top when it comes to stuffing, because that is also very important, how you stuff the top. Make sure that when you're decreasing, you're not giving too much room. So like you want to have a tighter tension when decreasing. See how I barely even pulled up that loop? Like very tight, because if you have loose tension when decreasing, you're going to have lots of holes because you're getting rid of stitches. So the yarn of the head is going to pull those stitches apart and you're going to see stuffing and you're going to see holes. So make sure that nice and tight tension when you're closing. Some people would just call that a day and they would close it and they'd be like, okay, that's good, that's my head. That is very flat. We do not want a flat head. So what you're going to do, you're gonna take some more stuffing, just a little bit, and you're gonna put it kind of like in between your fingers, like I said, and you're gonna go inside the head and spread your fingers like that. So I go like this, if you can, and just kind of like, okay, this one is too tight. But if you have bigger yarn and you can fit your fingers in, go in, spread. Go in and spread. And if you can't put both your fingers in, then you're just gonna go in and kind of like push it in a circular motion. Have you ever seen how dentists administer lidocaine with the needle? They go up and then they pull it back, and then they go up again, and then they pull it back, and then they go up again, and then they pull it back. Like they're kind of going in a circular, or like an out and in motion. That's kind of what you want, just to stuff the top. But you see how much I can fit my finger in there? You don't want that. You don't want to be able to fit your finger there. So we are going in and pushing up towards the roof of your plushie's head. Make sure to go over, feel around your plushie's head, feel any low spots. Oh, I need some stuffing there. You know, just feel for the low spots. Let the plushie guide you. I'm also feeling like the center of my plushie, like the center of the head is lacking some stuffing, so I'm gonna actually shove some right down the middle right now, because I feel like if somebody like squashes this, it's just gonna go collapse because there's no stuffing in the middle. I've been distracted talking that I don't have enough stuffing throughout the center of my head. Wiggle test. There's gonna be some wiggle. You're never gonna have no wiggle. But if you can hold it by its feet and it doesn't fall, its head doesn't go like that, then you're on the right track. I think I've gotten a decently good dome here, especially when your plushie doesn't have any like ears on top of its head or like a hair cap like this one. You want to make sure that your head is nice and rounded, because that's it. Like there's nothing to hide it. Okay, so I think I've gotten a pretty good dome here. You can always do this and kind of just like sculpt the head too. This face gets face shaped. So you see how the eyes sink in? It's because I used a face shaping technique that you will see in the pattern, but I'm not too concerned about like how bug-eyed he looks right now, because I will be face shaping. So next you're gonna take your yarn and your needle and you're going to close up that hole. Just using the front loops like we know. Now, if you've closed this and you're like, wow, that's kind of squishy, I wish I put more polyfill in, then just like before you fasten off, open it back up and put some more stuffing. You can even use like the back of your hook to put in more stuffing. I would recommend using like a hook that has a rubber grip on it so that, you know, it actually catches the polyfill. Pull closed, fasten off, and hide your tail in the head. And there you go. You have your not so floppy head. So yes, moral of the story is stuff the crap out of the head, but you want to do it in a way that you're not just shoving all the stuffing in one spot. You want to kind of spread it out, put it in the right spots, strategically stuff your head. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and I was able to help you with stuffing your floppy heads. If you liked this tutorial, please don't forget to give a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you never miss another video. Please let me know if there are any other tutorials you guys want down in the comments below. I'm off to go finish this little cutie. Bye!